Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And a fun card using all oldie but goodie favorites. Yeah, other than the embossing folder, which is newer, but I've already used it multiple times in multiple videos. But this time, gonna do a fun stamping technique with the embossing folder. So, everything I used will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps pay the bills, keeps the lights on, keeps my heaters running, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, I'll put some other videos using some of these products in the end screen at the very end of this video. I'll put them in the little eye that'll pop up throughout the video as well. You can check those out if you missed them. And yeah, that's it for the chatter. Let's get into making the card. So this embossing folder technique Tim Holtz showed years ago. And then he showed it again recently. And I was like, oh yeah, yes, need to do this. So for this technique, I have some distressed white Heavystock. You can kind of try just about anything. But I've got distressed white Heavystock. And then I've got an embossing folder. And you need an embossing folder that has a lot of flat space, because that's where you're going to do your stamping. For the stamping, I'm using Tim Holtz Reflections stamp set. And I remember when I got the set, I'd forgotten why I'd ordered it. And I remember when I got it and I was looking at it and I thought something was wrong because that stamp set, I was like, why is it backwards? Oh my gosh, like this is wrong. Like it's a misprint, you know? No, it's called Reflections, folks. It's supposed to be backwards. It makes sense in a minute. So, you want the flat side of the embossing folder. One side has the image raised up. One side has the image indented into it. That's the side I'm working on, where it's all flat and the actual embossing is debossed into that. And on the flat side of this embossing folder, this is the Simon Says Stamp Heart Wreath embossing folder that I've used many times. I am putting Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink. I would say oxide inks or pigment inks would work best for this. Dye inks are going to bead up a lot more, and it's just going to look weird, because especially if you've ever tried to put like a dye ink on any sort of like plastic surface, you'll know what I mean. It doesn't want to sit there because it's the nature of the product. So oxides really work. Also, don't make it perfect. Don't try to make it perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. I have tried this technique, not with the stamping, but I've tried this many times, and I always find myself so frustrated. And it was because in my head, I wanted it to be solid color, solid and smooth, and not have any like striations or anything. And it is possible. You just have to do it multiple times, and it's kind of annoying. And that's why I don't show it in videos. However, let go of that. Let there be texture. So I use Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink. And this is all in real time. I did not speed this up. I'll speed up everything else. But this was in real time. So I used my Spun Sugar Oxide ink, and you saw I just applied it and let it be like stripey. That's fine. And then I took this script stamp from the reflection set, which is backwards. And I inked it up with rusty Hinge Oxide ink. And then not using a block or anything, just pressing it here and there and not re-inking it, nothing. Just pressing it in multiple places onto this flat side of this embossing folder. And that's it. That's it, folks. And you could use anything. Like you could use any text image that you want. Just remember that if it's a normal text image, it will then appear backwards. Just keep that in mind. But you could use like polka dots would look really good. Any sort of like geometric style. There's so many options. So many options. So here's the sandwich I use for the Anna Griffin Empress machine and Simon's embossing folders. I did add the metal shim this time just because I really wanted it to press in like solid. And it did jump a little bit there at the end. So it did, like when it ran through. So I got kind of a messy bit of the text there along the bottom. Don't care. What I love about this technique is you get all that color on all the flat areas and all the raised embossed parts stay white or whatever color your cardstock is. And then, of course, with the text that's stamped, that's all there as well, in and amongst the embossing. And I was just like, this is fun. Mine is very subtle because spun sugar is a very pale pink. So doing it with more intense colors will show up more, but this is fun. And this was my first attempt, y'all. And if I can do it, everybody can do it. And then, of course, I'm going to grunge this up and add everything. Because it was Oxide inks, and this is Heavystock, it can handle the water. I sprayed it with water. And then I used my paper towel to take some of that off. I then smushed the rusty Hinge ink onto my work surface, splattered that with a bunch of water, used my little ink smushing sleeve to press more and just create that texture. That also helped kind of add a little bit of splotchiness where the text had kind of basically double stamped itself. And I will be adding more. We'll get to it. So for my floral, I used the Divine Peony wafer die set, which I have used in several videos. I love it. I love it. Well, I love peonies, and I love this die set. And that peony I die cut from some of the palette paper, the pink pack. This is actually my last little bit of this paper until my order arrives. So I've used it, y'all. I've been good. I have been good at using these papers. I got a little tiny sampling of them in last month's Simon Says Stamp card kit, and I don't have much left. I have been just using them up. It's fun. So I die cut the floral from that pattern paper, and I'm intensifying it with, I use Spun Sugar and Worn Lipstick Distress Ink and Rusty Hinge Distress Ink. I purposely switched to Distress Ink, not Oxide, for this because I didn't want the oxides, because they're pigmented, to cover the pattern on this pattern paper. It's one of the more subtle ones, but it's there. So it just adds that little extra bit. And then the leaves I had die cut from scraps that same white Heavystock. And those are the Abundant Leaves wafer dies. I only die cut the two smaller clusters. There's actually a large leaf cluster in that die set, and same thing. I've used it a million times. I love it. I love me some greenery. And on these, I blended peeled paint and then Rustic Wilderness Distress Ink. With these, I could have used inks or oxides. It doesn't really matter, but I'm all over the place. It is what it is. So I did that. And then I took that Rusty Hinge Distress Ink and added that too. Just cause. It just gives a little extra something. And then I'm going to do more splattery goodness with the Rusty Hinge Oxide. Smushed it on my work surface, added some water, took that big old paintbrush again, and just splattered that all over these. Cleaned up my mess, and then did the exact same thing again, this time with the Spun Sugar Oxide ink, which I definitely need to re-ink my Spun Sugar Oxide. When I was smushing it, I was like, not much is coming out. It is time to re-ink my Spun Sugar Oxide. This is one I use quite often. So I splattered that as well. And it's subtle because Spun Sugar is such a light, pale color, but it's there. It's there. It's just really subtle. So I did all of that. I let everything dry and then assembled my Divine Peony. That was the only thing I used from that die set because there's the big, branch and like the stem and greenery and a bud as well in that set, but didn't use any of it, just this big floral and the flower center, and that was it. So I glued the layers together, and then I just like kind of curled the pattern paper with my fingers, and then I was like, it needs grunge. I don't know about anyone else, but when I really start doing the whole like Tim Holtz techniques, that sort of thing, I don't know. I just start channeling him. I was like, it needs brown ink. You can always skip it. You don't have to do it. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But lately I've been on that, like, it needs brown. So I had some walnut stain distress ink, and I used a little tiny blending foam, and went direct to paper on the background with the ink, as you saw. Just added a little bit here and there, let a little bit of that raised embossing pick up some of that ink too, just kept it light. And then used the blending foam to add around like the perimeter of the background, the floral, and the leaves. And then I went direct to paper with the leaves and direct to paper with the floral as well, with a very light hand. Just adding a bit, just a bit. So added all of that. And the thing I like about adding like dark brown or black to the edges of like die cuts, things like that. It helps kind of define them too. It's not so much about the like the grunge element. It's more that dark color adds that extra bit of like definition when you're dealing specifically with die cuts. So after I'd added my little bit of grunge, I adhered my greenery to the card front, and then I popped the floral up with just a little bit of Big Mama foam tape. And then for my sentiments, I pulled out the Thank You Easy strips, and there's the Thank You Easy strips and the reverse Thank You, so white on black, black on white, and then the Easy Strips rectangles wafer dies. And these had come out whenever, quite some time ago. I've used them in previous videos. And like I always do, after I die cut them, I just put them all back, all the remaining ones in the package. So then I dug through those and pulled out the sentiments I wanted to use that were already die cut and ready to go. So that was quick and easy. And then, of course, I used my etched Dragonfly wafer die again because I just love him. He's adorable. And I die cut his wings from Simon's Ice Vellum, which has this just really pretty sheen to it. And the bodies of the little dragonfly I die cut from scraps of dark chocolate cardstock, which most often on camera especially looks black, but it's not. It's just a really, really, really dark brown. And then glued the little wings to the body. Love. And then just use my reverse tweezers to hold those in place for a minute to let the glue set up. And then to adhere my dragonfly to the card front, I took some thicker foam tape and cut off just like a sliver of the foam tape there, just to balance out the little body there of my little dragonfly. So just the teeniest bit without being too finicky, because I've talked about this. I don't like mucking around with like little tiny bits of foam tape. But this just popped them up, just so. And then, of course, I'm going to add more splatters to this. So I put this whole card front into my splat box. I'm using Simon's Positively Perfect White Splatter Medium. Needs to be stirred up really well. All that pigment settles to the bottom. So I stir it up really well. And then I dip my fan brush in there, and I did a pretty heavy amount of splatter all over this card front. So, yeah, it just adds more texture and fun. And then I let that dry, and then I pulled out ground espresso distress paint, just dark brown paint, and shook that up really well. Put a little bit of that on my palette, and added a bit of water to this as well. It doesn't usually really need water. Most of the distress paints are pretty fluid, but I wanted this thinned out even more just so I could get a good splatterable consistency, and then did a decent amount of splatter with this too. So splattered that all over the card front, and then set that aside to dry. And then what I did is I'm going to use that text stamp from the Reflections set, and I wanted to add it to the inside as well. But remember, it is backwards, which for the most part, it doesn't matter. But you can do this as well. I'm going to use my photopolymer mat. I just pulled the one out that I keep in my Misty. This works like a gel press. Those that work with like jelly plates, that kind of stuff, they know exactly what I'm about to do, because this will work for that. But I've got that, and I have my grid behind it so I can see exactly where the A2 portion is. I inked up that stamp with the same Rusty Hinge Oxide ink, and I'm just pressing it onto my grip mat, onto the photopolymer. Just here and there. I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm not worried about it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then I'm pressing the inside of my card to that. I had already put Post-it tape where the score line is, and then I just press that into there, and then that's going to pick up the reverse image of that text. And again, does it really matter in like, because of the way I stamped it, all of it? Not really. But that's another way too. If you have this set, there's another one too. There's the Reflections, like holiday reflections set. Same thing, it's backwards to do stuff like this with. Because that's one way also to use it on your cards without needing like an emboss. If you don't want to do the embossing folder technique, but you want to use the stamp and it really bothers you, the stamps are backwards, do that. It works. So I added a couple of the sentiment strips to the inside, one of the leaves, and that extra dragonfly. So that finished the inside of my card. And then the other sentiment strips, I put some Big Mama foam tape on the back of and pop those into place onto this card front. And then to finish it off, got to add some bling. So I've got some Peachy, Pawsitively Dazzling gems and sprinkling them somewhat liberally around this card because I was like, why not? Why not? So once I was happy with where I had them all placed, I just picked them up with my little embellishment wand and then glued them down with little dabs of liquid glue. Then I just got to let the glue dry. And this card is complete. So I had a really hard time showing this. It even right here, like depending on the way the light's hitting it, it looks like the embossing is debossed, but it's not. It sticks up. You can feel it and you can kind of see it when I tilt the card here and there, but it's funny how it looks different depending on how the light is hitting it. It's trippy. It's trippy. And as usual, I had a hard time taking photos of this. It's not my forte. I am a professional card maker. I do this as a job, and taking photos is something I need to work with. But anywho, that is it from me. That was the finished card. Everything will be listed below, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!